Golden State takes a loss as we welcome you in here live, and I keep asking it the same way. Should we worry? There's no Steph, there's no Draymond, it's not a full team, but they got enough guys to not lose 4 in a row, right?
Oh, they do. And obviously sometimes you miss some games. You let some get away. This one, they didn't let get away. OKC made sure it got away very far. And I know for them is that the Golden State Warriors, you still look at them, you hopefully when they get healthy, things will turn around. But they're a good enough team to still win some games. And I think that's where Steve Kerr is going to obviously hammer that home, like we still got to win games. They're missing a lot, but they're not missing that much to lose 4 in a row.
Grant, you know people are going to, because this is what they do, they're going to tie the losing streak to what happened and say, oh, things are disjointed. And Steve didn't make it any easier on himself when he talked about spiritually maybe the team being a little bit off. So how much, if at all, do you think that has to do with what we're seeing on the floor? Or is it really just about, hey, look, Steph's not there, Draymond hasn't been in there, they're just not a full group?
It's tough to say. I mean, I think there's been times in the past, in recent years, when Steph's been out and Draymond, and they still have been able to play and execute and maybe not win all games, but not lose like they lost at home here today. But, you know, their spirit is, their morale right now is low. And that happens. It's a little bit weird, though, because before all of this and when Steph was healthy, they were cruising. Like, they looked as sharp as, you know, as we've seen them in a long, long time. But like Smitty said, there's a lot of basketball left, a lot of season, there's a lot of talent. They have, you know, they'll get this thing going and get in the race. And obviously getting healthy, getting Draymond back healthy with his toe, Steph Curry coming back will help the team. But it's a tough time. And actually, in the big grand scheme of things, I think a little adversity, you know, depending upon how you handle it, it can bring you together and it can get you going in the right direction. And so it's not the end of the world. It's just something we have not seen from this group over the last, 2 or 3 years. Yeah,
let's be fair. When you look at it almost like a horse race, it's like, okay, Golden State hasn't gotten off to a great start, right, if you look at the first month. But they're right in the middle of the race. Do they not still have enough talent? Even if it was with 20 games to go, they all of a sudden became Golden State. It's such a long season. Doesn't it allow for you to kind of take a long time to figure out maybe what else Golden State right now?
Yeah, and I think the positive is you're getting some of these young guys getting some valuable time. I mean, you look at Quinn Cook, a guy's getting a chance to play meaningful minutes, and he's played well. I mean, they just haven't won games. You look at Jordan Bell is starting to play a bigger role for them. So I look at those guys, and also if you're Steve Kerr, you worry just a little because you want to win games no matter who you put out there. But you're missing Draymond and Steph, and they still have another guy, I call him the boogeyman, there's Boogie Cousins that could be added in whenever, January, February. That's a lot of firepower coming back. I think the biggest thing for them is being healthy. This could be the same thing if Steve Kerr was holding some guys out. They just have to get healthy. And if it was full, they had their full slate of guys and losing, then you should be a little bit more concerned.
They also kind of look like, and we know Steph as a player missed more than a person. I mean, he's a fantastic player. But they miss his joy, don't they? I mean, you look out on the floor, I mean, look, Klay's never been that guy. That's not his role on the team. There's been so much angst and talk about that. You miss Steph getting into one of his hot streaks where he's just so excited to play. There's not much happiness right now that's being put out there by Golden State, right?
And that's a great point, Casey. Not only does Steph, with his getting hot and the excitement and enthusiasm, you miss what he brings, and you miss, Draymond with his emotion.
Yeah.
And I think those two guys provide so much for that group. And you're right, Durant and Klay just are great players, but that's not their personalities. And so, Steph has been, playing at an unbelievable, really kind of playing like he did during his MVP years before he got hurt. So he'll get back to that. They'll get back to playing better basketball. But this is a tough stretch. And yes, when you're going through it, like Steve Kerr and the franchise, it's alarming. You want to, you live and die by the results of games, and certainly coaches do. So, you got to figure it out. But I believe they will. I believe they will. And right now, they're one game behind being in first place. So no one is creating a lot of separation still early in the year, but not the ideal scenario for this team.